Hey everybody, it's Dave, Blue Jacket 66 here for a quick video. Kind of a roundup for me for the month of end of July, kind of July, August, mainly August, some cool auction pickups. Actually, I got a couple auction pickups. I got an SGC reholder and regrade, and a card from a set I've been working on for several years and finally finished that. That's a non-sports card. As far as these auction pickups, one of them is a very rare Clemente card. I would say that it's my on my list of any Clemente cards I would want. The first would be that 68 3D Topps test issue that I have, and the second one is this one that I've been looking for many years. And I think if you looked at my national preview video last year, I showed it is something I'm looking for. I've been looking for a long time, and I finally got it. Very rare, and any Clemente collector would know it's just phenomenal food and beverage issue. But yeah, I missed the national this year, so had to spend my money on something. I typically don't spend a lot of money at the national anyway. That's actually not a great place to find the cards you want. It's just not. These auction houses have the cards I want. The National's just a blast for so many other reasons, and I'm sorry I missed it, but since I did, there were 3 huge auctions from the premier vintage auction houses. The top 3, no question in my book, that is Robert Edwards Auctions, Love of the Game Auctions, and Heritage Auctions. As far as vintage cards, and especially pre-war cards, they stand alone, head and shoulders above all else. I think Huggins and Scott a lot of times has some pretty good pre-war and vintage, and I love Sterling Auction. There's some other really good auction houses in there. Some of the others like Memory Lane and Mile High are more 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s type vintage rather than pre-war. And maybe another big auction house that comes to mind for you I don't really care for, nor do I trust. So we're going to show the reholder that I'm excited about, and 3 auction pickups. As far as my set that I finished, I'll show you the card here, and then the other stuff I'm just going to really do a turnaround on it just so I can show you and talk a little bit about it. But finally finished my 1967 Wacky Packages die cut set of 44 cards with this crack jerk. This is card number 38 of 44. I already have this card in the set, but there's a couple big cards that were pulled very early in the run of this. The Rats Crackers and the Animal Crackers one. I'll show you pictures of them, but those were pulled because of cease and desist lawsuits that the companies for them do not have much of a sense of humor. So I finally finished that set. I'll show you that. So now I have the 67 die cut complete set, but yeah, without the variations and the 2 cards that were replaced. And I have, starting in 1973, the complete, out of the 16 total series for Wacky Packages starting in 1973, I have the first 15. I don't have this 16 and last one. That one's really pricey. I don't know if I'll ultimately get it, to be honest with you, unless I would find it for a really good deal, but it's pretty pricey. I'm really anxious to show you all these cards from these fantastic auction houses, and I think you'll be pleased with what you see, and we'll talk about it. See you in a bit. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm going to start off with this Wacky Packages 1967 die cut set that I've now completed. They're just regular cards, but they're die cut out and you could punch them out. They're not stickers. Most of these cards would be part of the first series of the 1973 set, which were stickers. There's one of my favorite. Camel's Jerkish Blend. They're essentially just, obviously, just play on the products themselves, Crack Jerk, Dopey Whip. Took me a long time to finish this set in good condition. I mean, these can be really, really pricey if you get them graded. I didn't see any reason for that. More on Salt's one of my favorites. I'll just show these briefly. I've showed these before, but I was in the middle of the set and I finally completed. There's 44 cards. And again, there's 2 of the cards that are quite rare and very expensive in that they were pulled early. I'll show those cards over here to the left now. And essentially those were replaced, one by this Crack Jerk and one by, oh gosh, was it one of the Weekies? See if there's 2 Weekies in here. Yeah, here's another Weekie. So they kind of double printed those 2 cards when they had to pull those others. So that's it in the books. Okay, the first card I'm going to show is a regrade. I've shown this card very, very recently and told you about how I ought to get it just reholdered by SGC because it was in an ancient holder. Had a lot of trepidation about doing that because sending a very valuable card through the U.S. mail is dicey, I would say. None of these shipping companies really insure you for more than $5,000. And in actuality, I don't think the United States Postal Service will honor anything over $1,000. So you really have to have private insurance to do it, and I really don't have it that time. But that card is the 1954 Dandy Potato Chips Mantle in a 7. And it was in that old holder. And I sent it off. I think from the day I shipped it to the day I got it back, I think it was about exactly 7 days, maybe 8 because of the weekend. But in 1954, already says potentially the greatest player in baseball today. And they mentioned that his career has been threatened by a knee injury received in the 1952 World Series, underwent an operation this spring to eliminate the trouble. Didn't really eliminate the trouble. You know, they couldn't fix ACLs back then, but beautiful copy of the 54 Dandy. It's a small set. A few other Hall of Famers in it, you know, Hodges and Snyder, Robert Rizzuto, several others that I don't really have any interest in getting anything other than the Mantle. So I doubt I will get any other Dandy. I've had that for a long time. I've said it before. It was my first eBay purchase years and years ago. Heritage or Robert Edwards auction, I did not have the greatest luck in. I had a few things. I had a big list. And when you have a big list, it's always a little nerve-wracking. I start off usually with a list of, 25 items that I like. But not all of those are I know when it comes down the last few days, I'll be whittled down. And I'm usually whittled down to 5 I want to go for it cards. But to be honest with you, I don't want to win all 5 because I can't afford to win 5. What I want to win is 1, maybe 2. But I think I didn't really, my top 2 cards I lost out on, or they were just priced too high. But I did get this, which I really wanted and been looking for a long time, and a nice copy is this 1959 Bazooka Willie Mays. Authentic. So they came off the boxes, the bottom of the boxes, the back panel of the 59 Bazooka. They had a little dotted line around them. And if you cut around that dotted line acceptably, PSA and SGC will give it a number. If you do not show all of the dotted line, you'll get an authentic. And like I said before, my recommendation on collecting bazooka cards and hand-cut cards like this are forget about the grade, because you can have a 6 or a 7 that looks not nearly as good as this one. This one is authentic because you can't see any of the black dots, but it's got a beautiful, crisp image with no scuffs on it from being pushed around. It was, it was in a gum pack and crisp corners, and it's really perfect. The back is not perfect because it's got the inside gum stains and whatever. So that goes along with the three big one of this are the mantle and the Aaron and this maze. Do not have an Aaron. I don't know if this is going to stay. I don't trust it to stay. The mantle image is just fantastic. The maze image is fantastic. The Aaron, there's a lot of beautiful cards. It's a pretty small set. The Aaron image is not fabulous for me, but I'd still love to have it, and I hope to get it sometime, but it's not high on my list. Next comes my love of the game, Auction Wins, and I'm super, super, super excited about this card. I've only seen it at auction once before, a few years ago, and I lost out on it. I wasn't quite sure how much to bid on it. PSA is graded like 2 of these, and I think SGC is graded like 16 or something like this. Very rare. The 1910 W, which we've talked about that before. It's these vague strip cards and exhibit cards and whatnot, but it's a 1910 W Unk, meaning it's kind of unknown strip card, the Ty Cobb. This is an amazing card. I think it's thought that actually these were images that were on the notebook covers. Even back then in the early 1900s, kids, for their notebooks, they made baseball note covers. And this was probably an image with some other of these type images on the notebook cover. And I'll show you some of those other images that are known. I would love, I don't know of this image being on another baseball card issue. Let me know below if it is. It very well may be. The Mathewson, see these images I'm showing you. The Mathewson is, I think, a unique image. And see how hard it is to get these in any sort of condition. They're just not. The Wagner, it's a complete wow. That's kind of the exact same. That is the same image as on his 1910 Tip Top Bread. But these are really cool, and this is a great addition to my Cobb collection. Man, I wish this... wish that would have stood up, but it's just a little too tall. Okay, my final thing I'm going to show tonight is a big deal. Very, very rare Roberto Clemente card from 1962. Most of you know that I collect and somewhat specialize in food and beverage cards from the primarily 50s and 60s, some 40s. And this is a real rarity. What I really love is the hot dog and wiener issues, the Scarce, the Cons, the Briggs, etc. And I've been looking for this card for years. It too is low population. In the 20 known copies, in kind of in that range. and it is too a hot dog card. And you'll see these from time to time, but the Clemente is just exceedingly elusive. And I remember the first time I saw one, I think it was probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I don't think I knew how rare it was at that time. And I bid on it in auction, but wasn't aggressive about it, and have never seen another one again. But interestingly, Love of the Game, or not Love of the Game, Robert Edwards Auction had a complete set of these. I actually put a placer bid on that, but ultimately didn't go for that night because I really didn't want to pay for the whole set. All I want is the Clemente, because these cards are primarily Cleveland Indians out of the small set. I think there's 22 cards and a handful of Pirates. And there's really no other interesting player for me other than the Jim Perry, which I didn't want. But here it is, and this is a huge for me. The 1962 Sugardale Wieners, Roberto Clemente. In 62, Tops were still calling Clemente Bob Clemente. But this was in the pack of wieners, probably a stiffener, just like the some of the other hot dog issues that they're wax coated. The Stallmeyer is the one that I love the best, and this is about the same size of a Stallmeyer. So it's got a little image there and a autograph. This is not supposed to be on the card. That's what is just part of these intriguing things about these food and beverage. I mean, they were in with the food. And so this is some sort of grocer's stamp, I would guess. It says Roberto Walker Clemente was born in Carolina, Puerto Rico. And it says the date, says, his vital statistics. And then there's a little bio about played only one season in the minor leagues before coming to Pittsburgh in 55. In 1960, tied a World Series record, hitting safely in 7 consecutive World Series games. His .351 batting average in 61 earned him the National League batting championship, etc. So here it is, the 1962 Sugardale Wieners. And actually on there, it calls them Conies, all meat, skinless wieners. And on the back, there's some batting tips. On this hitting tips, it's the correct stance, stride, and swing. And it instructs you on how to step into the batter's box, back as far as you can go with your rear foot against the end of the box, spread your feet wide, etc. It's how to essentially hit a baseball. So fantastically dirty with hot dog grease. That's the way you want these, to be honest with you. Would it be great to have an 8 or a 9? Yeah, the value would be out the wazoo, but there's so much character in these issues like this that were in the package of food. So gaze on this one. I know there's a lot of glare on this because I'm not sure if some of you, even big Clemente fans, have seen one of these. The 1962 Sugardale Wieners Roberto Clemente. I keep saying that because I'm so proud to own this, and it took years. Big part of my food and beverage collection. I mean, it's just incredible. Okay, thanks for watching, and just have a great week.